To be honest, it's all about why me. When it comes to cancer, it's all about why me. And not gonna lie, I'm still figuring out to kind of transform this why me into try me.
You're listening to Foodie Canteen. I'm your host, Castle Lim. And in this podcast, I'm sitting down with Southeast Asia's leaders, entrepreneurs, and content creators in the F&B space. You will learn about their trade secrets, or you'll just find them as your next door neighbor. This show is supported by Good Foodie Media. For foodie who wants to connect to the world through food, they curate the best spots to eat and drink in Malaysia, Bangkok, and Singapore. Check them out on Instagram for more. Today, I'm speaking to Soon, the co-founder of one of the top cafes in Johor. Stick around to hear his story. Hey Soon, welcome to the show.
Hello, Cass. Hello, Foodie's family. Pleasure to be in the air.
We're so happy that you are on the show today. How are you feeling today? Feeling good and all?
We can't complain. Still doing well. Still healthy. It's just still going smoothly. Yeah.
So for our listeners who's new to the podcast, can you tell us what you do?
Hello, everyone. It's Sun here, the founders of, as you can see, the Founders Cafe, routine by Sun and people and places. And we are kind of known for having super long queue, up to, I would say, two hours. And we are also kind of known for serving some real iconic celebrities as well as individuals. Yeah.
So your first business venture in Malaysia was People and Places Cafe. Then,
Yep.
as you said, Routine by Soon. And then right now we see in your background is the Founders Cafe. Can you take us through the journey? How did all this started?
It's been an amazing 3+ years back here in Malaysia. I had my studies in Melbourne and I was kind of self-employed with my siblings for some businesses over there. But most importantly would be my cafe job as a barista over there. Else we won't be who we are today and what we are today. And I believe similar scenario happening around us or even yourself or ourselves, especially for those who studies in Australia. It's very strange, especially for those who study in Australia. They will fight for their life to go for the PR over there, or at least temporary residence to lengthen their stays over there. So it happens to myself and Alexa. So Alexa Oy is actually our amazing ingredient developer, as well as the founder and the director. So both of us, we made a unforgettable decision to reject our PR and to stay here to start up our business. So a couple of the factors, it's going to be real long, so I'm going to make it short. So a couple of the factors is probably I'm from Johor, and I'm a real Southern Harimau, Southern Tiger. Since small, we heard about Penang food, Ipoh food, Malacca food, and of course Singapore is everything, and KL is also everything. But when it comes to the food, in my case, the cafe scene in Johor, you never heard about it. So we were like, okay, we really wanted to make it happen real badly to put Johor on the map. And then another factor is probably, again, as a Southern Harimau, it was a visit back here for Chinese New Year. And I found out that there is a huge improvement and the cafe scene here were pretty developing. And that's why we are here today.
You talk about the cafe scene in Johor, like how in KL and in Penang, we are known for our food. How would you, as a cafe owner, you have 3 on your book now. How would you describe the cafe scene in Johor comparing to your neighbors?
When it comes to comparing Johor to Singapore or KL, even though Johor is considered as the second largest city in Malaysia, but when it comes to the population-wise, the densities of population-wise, the market, competitiveness, the human traffic, they are like our, big brothers or the big neighbors or the big cousins. And that's what we found it interesting, because if we manage to make it happen here in Johor with these populations, these markets, and the culture wasn't here, then it's going to be awesome. And when it comes to Singapore or KL, it will be real. I can't say easy. It will be better for us because there is unlimited of the human traffic, and it's all about the international airports over there. Just like when we go to Taipei, it's going to be Building 101. Go to Paris, it's going to be the tower. But somehow we managed to make it when it comes to Johor Bahru. It's going to be our space, People and Places, or right now, the Founders Cafe. Yeah.
People and Places Cafe is one of the top cafes in JB, with your customers, like you said in the beginning, queuing up to 2 hours wait time. Like, they are willing to do that. And when you guys decided to stop operating last year, it kind of shocked the community, not only the community in JB, but also in Penang and KL, visitors who have been to your cafe before. Can you tell us what really happened there?
I have goosebumps right now whenever, I'm talking about this People and Places, the closure. First of all, our prayers are with those who are affected by the pandemic. It's not easy as a parents, employers, even as employees. So I would say thanks to pandemic, I've been very positive. Thanks to pandemic, as pandemic is considered as one of the best indicators to determine how strong our strongest communities are. So here I'll be using communities. I haven't been using customers for ages because I truly believe that this is how we pay tribute to our community. So thanks to the pandemic, that's because we always wanted to move to a bigger space due to a very long queue. And that's why there is this routine in Johor after our first year with People and Places. And therefore, I'm sorry. So because at the same time, we also have sharing the basement, just like the basement here, with one of the furniture shop, and it's kind of restricted our expansion within the area. People and Places were huge building. We managed to accommodate 100 capacity, but due to the real overwhelming response, with the waiting area up to 100 as well, we need a bigger space. And therefore, thanks to the pandemic, it's time to really close down for a while and prepare for a bigger building. To well prepare for when the borders are opened and to accommodate more people. But surprisingly, thanks to the strongest community, and that's why I rename it as the Founders Cafe, because it's just like the big boss of your video games. After we opened the Founders Cafe, the queue was there without even with the Singapore crowds. With my Singapore visitors remain in Singapore up to an hour. Or two for the weekends, and for the weekdays, there is a very promising crowd as well.
Your cafes, there, like you said, you don't address your customers as customers, but as your community. And on your social media pages, you even have the hashtag for the community. What's the story behind it? Why do you think it's important to stand up and use this hashtag across your platforms?
In this case, I'm going to use it myself as a cafe owner as an example. When it comes to start up a cafe, it's very easy to generate your customers in the short term wise, as long as you have enough investments. If you have enough investments, you are good to decorate your place well, even better than ours. If you have enough investments, you are able to just form a team. You are even okay to just hire a celebrity chef from overseas if you have enough investment. And if you have enough investments, you'll be able to spend yourself on the internet, especially when we are living in this best era ever. Internet is about everything, but that's all about the short-term wise. But what about long-term wise? So this strongest community, it's all about the relationship with the crowds. It's not just a day one, day two. It's all about the word of mouth, the publicity, and word of mouth is crazy. Again, in this era with internet, I'm going wild every single day. And it's probably going to link to why we managed to welcome those real iconic celebrities and individuals to our space because when it comes to the day one of the operations, it's always your close one. It's always your family, your friends who pay the first visit, and the rest is really about the word of mouth, and that's all due to the powers of strongest community.
And artists like Jay Chou and the royal families would often visit your cafes. How did you make that happen? Do you have any tips for cafe owners who are listening who can maybe find your strategy useful?
Again, I think the audience probably going to hate me so much because I'm going to use this word strongest community most of the time in this podcast. Jay Chou and the royal families are all due to the powers of strongest community again. As I believe over the years since day one, we have been loved by the strongest community, or I would say, because I'm using my personal branding, my head as a logo, I would say I've been loved by the strongest community since day one. Please, correct me or slide into our DM if you are not loving us no more. And due to all this, the love and support since day one, after our family or our friends visited, it was all about local customers who find out it's interesting and they paid the visit. And after that, it becomes the tourist spot, slowly become tourist spot with Singapore visitors coming in. And after that, because of the power of the strongest community, whenever our community have their guests over here from Singapore, from overseas, or from other states of Malaysia, it's just like a tourist. It's become the destination. They will bring them over despite the long queue. It happens to Jay and to the rest of the iconic celebrities. When they are here or they are around here, the agents will actually arrange and give me a call to see if I'm around, then we just make the arrangement. So thanks to the, strongest community.
Well, they're going to love it since you plug them so much in this podcast. What is the branding concept behind your cafes? How did you decide to use your looks and make it into a logo?
Thanks to the strongest community again and again. Since we are not buying the franchise, we will have to build up our very own SOP, our own system. So, and I enjoy interacting with strangers, customers. So since the very first year, the entire year, I was on the floor and I was on the operation side to deal with the front lines positions, to work out the SOP, the systems, the way we interact with our communities. And it turned out that everyone's loving our community. And then and it all started with the very one person requested to take a photo with myself, and it posted it online. And that's how amazing internet. So when people find it interesting, how come there is these humans, this creature there with the long hair and tattoo, and I love talking, and then with all this facial hair, they find it interesting. And after the first customers, the rest was history. People will request for photos, but not until I decided to visit Singapore, a regular visit to the Singapore. I would say kind of wherever, in the restaurants or on the streets in Singapore, people would, they would actually recognize me and they would request for photos, they post on the internet. And I was like, wow, that's the powers of love. And why not we put my head as a logo? And we always believe that personal branding is the best branding in the world, as it's more down to earth. It's all about human relationship, and it's all about the soulfulness. Yep.
In April, you opened up about your cancer journey to the public on your Instagram. Can you share with us a little bit about what happened?
It's been an amazing 4 months. I would say it's been 4 months, and I would say it's the cancer or the diagnosis has been treating me very well. I need to be very positive, but I'm truly positive anyway. It changed my life. I was diagnosed with this testicular cancer. It could be bad and it could be good. But it turned out pretty well as I managed to figure it out early. And I decided to put it online, probably due to the fact that when it comes to women, they would actually go for a regular checkup for the breast cancer and stuff like that. But when it comes to the men, just like myself, I felt a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but I didn't care about it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to sleep for a while and I'll be all right a week later, a month later. But it's not the case after a month. So I went for the checkout and it turned out there's this diagnosis. And so I've been working on the awareness campaigns in Johor. I hope that they'll be able to raise more awareness. And so far so good. I'm still, to be honest, it's all about why me. When it comes to cancer, it's all about why me. And not gonna lie, I'm still figuring out to kind of transform this why me into try me, which I've been living kind of happily. And here, I'm gonna use exercise and working out as an example. I'm very skinny right now, to be honest, after the surgery, because I'm not allowed to go for exercise or to lift something heavy. And therefore, I switched to the Qigong. So before the diagnosis, I was actually kind of muscular. I would hit the gyms, went for the exercise almost every day. And just like many of us out there, it's not enjoyable at all. It's very stressful. So it's actually very unhealthy if you find it stressful and you still force yourself to go for it almost every day, because I was simply, work out for the muscle so that I look great physically with my outfits. But it's not healthy at all. And therefore, after the diagnosis, and the rumors actually saying that cancer is probably due to your lifestyle. But the reason why me is that because I've been having a very healthy lifestyle, very well disciplined. But rumors also saying that life can't be way too disciplined. And I decided to change my lifestyle. I was approached by the Qigong master, so I developed the Qigong. To be honest, Qigong is very slow, very, very slow, but it allows myself to really embrace my body, to really understand the body at least an hour a day. So it turned out that Qigong's been treating myself well and calm myself down to understand my body.
I'm curious as to what was the first question that came to your mind when you were diagnosed with testicular cancer?
Oh yeah, it's all about the why me, as we mentioned, because as I mentioned, I've been having a very well-disciplined lifestyle. Even eating habit is good, but why me? It's just why me. So I'm trying my best again to work it out to form this try me, to live it with the cancer. And it's been very well, an amazing journey, because I got to share the experience online with my strongest community, and people with similar experience. They will actually share their experience, how we can work it out together. And for those who kind of curious and worried about, let's say if they are not comfortable with their parts, let's say testicular, like myself, they will actually just PM myself, and I'm more than happy to comfort them and then to work out with them.
And how did your immediate family take this news when you shared it with them?
Wow, to be honest, it's also our responsibility to calm our family down, but there's no right or wrong. If you are not happy, just cry it out. If you are happy, you can just laugh. But I try to hide my emotions, because they say if you are an Aquarius, and the Aquarius, you tend to be the guy who hide your inner self, and I'm actually the one who hide all my the inner self. But it turned out they kind of understanding. They hide their emotion as well. They'll cry in their room, and then But after the very first day, because the internet is here, we can just kind of Google all the symptoms. Especially, I actually approached one of the influencer, Jared Lee, on he's based in KL, and he actually helped me with a lot of doubts and questions. And throughout the entire journey, thanks to the internet and thanks to Jared Lee, I've been actually feeling all good and well prepared. Even before the diagnosis, I knew something was wrong, but I was actually okay with it. So it's kind of so I'm actually kind of a miracle, because people saying that I'm still doing well here and still real active on the internet.
Before this interview, we had a few chats and you spoke about legacy. My question is, what is the legacy you want to leave behind?
To be honest, legacy happens when your life being, threatened. Just like myself, as well as the business, it's about business. I mean, in my case, it's about the business career and the life. So first, when we first announced that we closed the different places, we learned that, okay, our legacy in Johor is there because we got on the newspaper and the media nationwide in Singapore, in Johor and in Singapore. Surprisingly, in Singapore as well, due to the very magical Malaysia and Singapore link bridge. I was on the media of Singapore. And also, when it comes to the cancer, the moment after I decided to post it online with the tons of message and calls made by my strongest community, I learned that my life and mission here in Johor is basically complete. And it's time to move on to, KL, the real city, the capital, the eyes of, everyone.
Do you have any advice for people who are looking to start their food businesses in terms of, you spoke a lot about branding and just creating a brand for the community. Is there any tips that they can take away from you?
Because when it comes to F&B, people who love to first start up their business, they always go for the F&B. I'm not sure why. It's probably due to some dramas or the movies in Taiwan or in worldwide, so they find it interesting to make coffee. But it's never as easy to start up in any industry. So and I would say when it comes to the career age of your career, it just determines. In our case, I'm actually 3+ years old in this entrepreneur industry, but it turned out pretty well. And I would say it's all about delivering good value. So in our case, the cafe industry, good value, I'll break down into good service, good food, and most importantly, good culture. And as we mentioned earlier, short-term wise, if you have enough investments, there's no problem, no issue with the visitors. But what about long-term wise? It's all about the good values you are about to deliver to your customers. And just going to make things short, I would say good things take time and good values always matters.
Thank you so much, Sun. Thank you so much, Sun, for coming on the show and sharing your story with us, being so open about your journey. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Cass. Thanks, Foodie family.
You have just listened to Foodie Canteen. Special thanks to Sun for sharing his story. The show is produced by me, your host, Castle Lim, and co-written by Mei Rui Kwa. Foodie Canteen podcast is made possible by the excellent team at Good Foodie Media. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Foodie Canteen for more. Follow us for brand new episodes every Friday. Thanks for listening.